Hi,
Hi,
Kusha.
ma'am. Thank you so much for joining in. First of all, I'd like to welcome you on the behalf of SKCF. We are glad to have you here. Um, I'll quickly begin with introducing you to our viewers once again. She's Chinka
Mhm.
Gupta. She's currently associated with three companies. She's director with Defi 11 Private Limited, Non-Blocks Private Limited, and Jitender Foundation. Ma'am, can you please tell us a little about Jitender Foundation and its aim?
Sure. Thank you so much, Kusha, for having me here. And yeah, regarding Jitendra Foundation, so we are a humanitarian organization. We have two major goals. Basically, um, we believe in the power of digital world, and we believe in easing up the charity. We the first goal that we focus upon is basically making charity so easy that it's kind of just a click for everybody who wants to do that. So in the problem that we find today is that be it Gen Z, Gen Y, we all want to donate, we all want to do our bit to do something for the society. It's just that I think we all are super occupied in our routines that we do not really have. It's a bit weird to say, but we do not really know how to donate or what to do, where to give. So via Jitendra Foundation, we want to make this process of doing charity easy for everybody. And uh, the other thing is we want to bridge this gap. We want to bring equality in the society. We are focusing on, we have different campaigns. We have, different focus areas. But of course, currently we are working with child education and child healthcare. We are currently running our campaign where we are committed to provide education to 60 students by June 2023. And we are aggressively, our team is aggressively working on that.
That's great, ma'am. So, as I already mentioned, that the topic of today's live is how poor health affects the education of children. So, ma'am, how are these terms poor health and education interrelated?
I think they are not interrelated, but they lead to one another. So basically, an imbalance in one leads to the other. So if you see, health is it's a direct thing. I mean, education, I believe, is, and we are talking of the basic education here, the purpose of which is to produce awareness in the society. So if somebody is not having access to basic education, if somebody doesn't even know, he is not aware of what exactly health means, how should he go ahead and take care of the different aspects of his or her health. Of course, he cannot really take in the steps, he cannot really go into the action. So I would say there is no such relation, but a lack or an imbalance in one leads to unwanted consequences in the other. So that's the relation
Yes,
between the two.
ma'am. I totally agree with you. Like you raised a really nice point. Also, I feel like if someone is not feeling like very well physically or mentally, is not in a really good state of health, she will also not be able to, perform that well in her education or any other field, I believe. Because like if someone is not feeling the best, then they won't be, showcase their best as well. So,
Exactly. So basically, I mean, the same thing. So if you do not have awareness, you do not have education, you don't know about health. If you do not have the proper health, you cannot really access education. So it's directly, I would say,
yes,
proportional
ma'am.
to each other.
So what do you think results to poor health of children the most?
Well, I believe that we, I mean, okay, so there is a very recent stat. by UNICEF. So especially in India, 1 out of every 3 children in India is considered to be poor. So basically, they come
Yeah.
below poverty line. And so when you're asking me the reasons for poor health, I guess it's, of course, it is lack of education. The society we are living in, if you know, if so in a child's, let me talk in a very layman language. So a child has his parents around him, the peer, the school he's going in. If this child who is belonging to a society which is deprived, the parents of course are not educated. They do not really take the health thing as a primary thing. So I guess lack of awareness around the children is one major factor, which is of course leading to poor health. And when we say health, it's not just the physical health that we talk about. We talk about health include your mental health, your physical health, your social health. So I believe that lack, and this we know, you know this, I know this, and probably many other people know this, but there are many who do not even care to talk about topics like these, and these are the people who belong to the deprived communities. So I believe lack of education, lack of awareness, and the basically lack of access to the basic rights. Now these people do not even have access to the basic nutrition, to the basic education, to the basic
Hmm.
hospital facilities. So all these things, they sum up and lead to poor health, which of course, I mean, um, we make it sound very simple, although it's a complicated matter, because the things when keep on piling up, these then lead to, eventually they create a snowball effect, and then this eventually comes to the country level, and then this comes to the global level.
Yes, ma'am. As you like mentioned the hospital point, I also believe like of course poverty is the major aspect that leads to poor health, and lack of knowledge is also one of the huge contributor. But also I feel like there's a lack of medical facility as well. Like if someone is suffering, let's say, from any disease, so it's really, expensive to get it diagnosed. Even if you have the knowledge, if you want to get it diagnosed, you may not have the, money. It costs a lot in India. Like around like 53% of children under the age of 5 lack the basic medical facility. So I believe that there is really need to, work upon on medical facilities in India.
And I think it's all a loop. I mean, if we talk about medical facility, and if you go deep down to the topic, you see that there are facilities. You see that government do come up with different schemes and everything. They have access to, I would say, different mm, mm, medical facilities for that matter. But it's just that they are not aware how to avail their basic rights. So the entire thing is like a loop. I would say it's a vicious loop that they are, people are stuck in, and then they do not. So ideally, I mean, we I would say the ones who are privileged enough to be taking care of our health, and to be having access to basic things. I think we are the ones who could be of help in breaking this loop. So it's just that we need to break the loop. Doesn't really matter from which way are you breaking it, but you have to get into and break the loop so that these people can be pulled out of the
Yes,
loop.
ma'am. That's a really great point. I believe like all of us should, contribute to make our society better and work together. That's a really great point. So my next question for you is, what measures do you think can be taken to prevent the situation to occur, like the poor health situation that's usually prevailing in a society?
I think again, I mean, I think there are actually a lot of things that should, I mean, we can just go on for hours and discuss a lot of things, a lot of schemes that should be in place. But I guess eventually it all dig down to the basic idea of awareness, creating awareness. It can be via education or via the workshops or via any other thing, but just create awareness among people or the these deprived community that they have access. That's the, you know, that is how they can this is something which they have to take care of, and these are gonna be the consequences if they do not take care of such and such things or aspects of their lives. And then eventually somebody there should be more of, I guess there should be more of groups, volunteers, people who can help in spreading such awareness. Of course, I mean, the government can do its measures and there could be official things, but then eventually at our level we have to come together to come up and help them and spreading the awareness. The other thing is uh, easing the access to basic necessities, easing their access to education, easing their access to medical facilities is something that should be done at even at the level of our government, and as much as we can provide. But then eventually there has to be a seamless flow that needs to be set up so that their accesses to various basic things could be eased. That's the major thing, I
Yes,
believe.
ma'am. Like spreading awareness about the topic, and like spreading awareness and knowledge about health and its importance is really important. Like sometimes people, I'll say mostly the people from the deprived region of society, they don't even care about their health because that's not their priority. Earning money and feeding their stomach is what they prioritize. So they do not care about those things, and they are not even aware about these things. So we as a society as a whole need to spread information and knowledge about these topics. Like this is the time when these no topics need to be talked about.
And there's one more example when mostly you'll find, and it has been a personal example, when these the deprived communities, most of the times, even if they are being helped to, basically, even if children are being helped for education, or the schools are, NGOs are helping them, and there are free education workshops going on, but eventually the ratio of the children attending these things is very less. And that's the reason that you mentioned. They do not really prioritize health. They would rather utilize their hours. Even the children, they would rather utilize their hours in making some
Yeah.
extra money so that they can they do not have to sleep empty with empty stomach. So yeah, so that's the thing, I guess. These things, of course, they need to be aware about the importance of such things. And other than this, of course, I mean, it's like they have their priorities, of course. I mean, everybody, food is a major priority for human beings. So, and the thing is that they somehow, this loop has to be broken somehow. Either, like we see in this is something which I feel is a feasible measure that we can adopt in our country as well, wherein the basic education should be free for everybody, irrespective of I mean, if those are deprived children or not, especially for deprived children. But of course, I mean, I believe it, if there is a balance, if there's an equality, then there are no
Hmm.
disparities as well. So, you then there is no I would say we do not really have a scale of including the financial models in basic education. It can be like a basic free education for everybody in the country. These, I think, could be some of the methods which should be adopted by Indian government as well, like the government in other countries are already doing and implementing.
Yes, ma'am. I totally agree with you. Like basic education is more of like a necessity in today's world, like food and shelter. And in a country like India, where poverty is a prevailing problem, where people do not like have money to eat, they of course don't have the access to schools as well. But education is really important because education like leads to various growth aspects to society. So if we can also have like free basic education in our country, like many other countries already have, that will really make a huge difference in our society. But I feel that's something that government will be doing, and that's on a bigger picture. But we as individuals living in society should also, contribute to work upon. And hello, am I audible?
Yes, you are.
Hello, ma'am. I'm
Yes, Kusha, you
audible.
are audible.
So yeah, I was saying ki like different societies and social groups which are working, they should also, focus more upon these things. Like if I take an example, like SKCF itself have a project named Project Ashe, where we distributed like meals to more than 50,000 students, 50,000 people, and like proper meals ensure that people do not go empty stomach, and they can, like have with if their stomachs are full, then they'll, think about other things as well. They'll take care of education, they'll take care of body. So that's really important thing, I feel.
And I think that's where organization like yours and Jitendra
Yeah.
Foundation comes into picture, wherein we run these different campaigns. We recently are running our campaign, which is called Vidyadan Mahadan, wherein we want to sponsor education for these children. So, and when we say that, we basically mean that they are, we want the deserving children to be enrolled to good schools so that they not only get the education, but they get in a proper environment wherein they know that they get a direction in their life, they get a purpose in their life. So, of course, I mean, we organizations like, yours and ours, and even there are many other organizations. And I guess even at our individual level, there is no step which I believe is a small step, and that's what we believe in. So even we believe that all the small steps, if are taken in proper direction, can lead to something big. So of course, I mean, today is the world of digital era. The things are easy for us today. So I guess, I mean, we can actually make a lot of moves together, not only for just the child sector, but there are other sectors as well, of course. But yes, I mean, we are discussing about the child education and healthcare here. But of course, yeah, at individual level, we certainly can take measures for supporting. And there are already different campaigns, we are also running up.
Yes, ma'am. So my next question for you is, what role do you think the parents and families play in ensuring that child is healthy? Like by healthy, I just don't mean physically healthy. I mean mentally, physically, socially. So, what do you think the families do and to make ensure that the child is healthy?
I think it's more of like, of course, I mean, when we are saying healthy, when we are saying health, we are covering the various aspects of health, physical, mental, social, and I guess it's I mean, of course, family is the one which is gonna hang around a child for the maximum number of hours in a day. So they do directly impact child health. not only in terms of course, I mean, if the family is privileged enough, not only in terms of providing the proper nourishment and nutrition, but in other things as well. Of course, like, in imparting them social health, in basically making them aware of what, uh, putting them in different activities, of course, providing them, feeding them, and basically, I would say the way it's more on, the way they children are raised up, or it depends. I mean, even me and you, the way we are raised in our homes determines our health. So, even the mental, of course, the values put in, or I would say the, the different type of upbringing, or the, I mean, it's more of like, the your question was, how basically parenting helps in child health, which I feel is, it not only, of course, helps in the physical thing. Of course, I mean, and it depends upon how privileged your parents are. And even not that, it depends upon what is the health status of
Yeah.
your parents. So if they are themselves are healthy, they of course can impart good health to their children as well. And when I say they themselves are healthy, of course, mentally healthy as well, physically healthy, and socially healthy. So I believe, but of course, it is unfortunate that in the deprived community, the parents are also suffering, the adults also suffer from, health issues, due to which they cannot really provide the proper environment for their children. So I guess it, I mean, it's directly proportional. The parenting affects child health, of course.
Yes, ma'am. I also feel कि अब the environment that the child is raised in really affects its mental health actually. If someone like from a really young age sees struggle in their family, he or she see, their parents barely managing to feed them. So, by naturally you get that, mindset of earning money and helping out your family, and you don't, you get that pressure in your mind, though that really affects your mental health. And in today's world, mental health is something which is really, really important. Like people are getting really conscious about things that they should not be. So I also think parenting and the family environment really affects the health, mentally and physically, of children.
Moreover, it's not just the health, I guess it's the conditioning. So, I mean, if you are being raised up in an environment which is, of course, full of struggles and challenges and is deprived, your conditioning is done in a way that you just see, the ultimate goal of your life becomes feeding yourself. That's it. Having bare enough money to feed yourself. Of course, I mean, that depends. And but I guess, I guess that's where education plays a major role. See, the time changes for people. Of course, I mean, it's not that, it's not an overnight process, but eventually, the difference is, if in an educated family, you see challenges, you see struggles, people are educated and aware enough to be, simply at least trying to
Yeah.
condition their child's mental health in such a way that, in a positive way, of course, they can condition them, and there are chances that the child is not just conditioned in a monotonous way of, and he takes in earning money just for feeding himself as the basic thing. So I guess that, this is the place wherein education again comes into picture. So of course, I mean, it does matter. It does really create difference. Your education, how well educated you are and how well aware you are, because it's not just the bookish knowledge that you gain from education. It's basically everything. I mean, the way to live your life is something that I call is included in education. So your attitude, your perspective towards life and everything. I mean, if you are well educated, of course, that means you're civilized. You know the difference. You are aware. You're very well aware, and you know the difference, and you even have the power. That's why we say education is powerful.
That's very well said, ma'am. Education do is a really big weapon in today's world, I'll say. Also, ma'am, do you think that poor health can lead to depression among children? And if it can, then how should a child overcome it?
Um, I believe, of course, it can lead to education, and there's the term that we use for the depression symptoms in children is child depression, which is a form of depression which occurs due to basically malnourishment and malnutrition
Yeah.
in the children. So your brain cells they cannot really function properly, which leads to a series of symptoms, which eventually result in something that we address as depression. Um, so of course, I mean that's something which um, poor health do and can lead to depression in children. And your next question was how can we
How can a
address it?
child overcome depression?
I guess it's majorly so it's majorly the again taking care of his health. And when we are including the term child, uh, we we mean, or we imagine somebody who is not able to take care of himself or herself alone. So of course, I guess because when we include the term children, these are below 18 years of age, at least in India. So usually these are dependent persons. So I think it's basically getting the basic health, or getting the basic nutrition, and then getting the proper environment wherein they can be, because the only way you cure depression is your
Hmm.
mindful activities. And of course, I mean, somebody from these deprived community would not even think of mindfulness until they got their basic goals cleared. So I guess it's more of like people around them should be the ones who should be helping such children who unfortunately get victims of child depression. And of course, along with the basic nourishment and nutrition, there are the other basic activities, or the mindful activities. We even say meditation and all. They have to be injected in them anyhow. They have to be told, uh, basically creating a positive atmosphere around these children is something that we can do, of course, or that the people around can do to help them recover from depression. And the the fact is that creating this atmosphere around is something that we can do by, again, I mean, it all boils down to the same thing that we have been discussing. So by providing them the basic things, by providing them the basic amenities, by taking them to physical things, opening up, bringing them in sports, opening up different, uh, I would say, series of actions for them wherein they are involved. They are not they come out of their cocoon, and they are involved in other activities as well. Is something that, of course, there are different campaigns that can be opened up. They can be pulled in other things, and that's how they can actually put their mind off of the negative circumstances and environment, and they can be pulled out of the
Yes,
darkness.
ma'am. Like I also feel key environment, environment around you is what really leads to depression and which can also, try help you in overcoming it. Also like it's just not about poor health. Education sometimes also leads to depression. Like in today's competitive world, everyone is in a rat race, and sometimes like when you try your best and you are not able to do it, like most of the students nowadays start feeling depressed um, because of their like not being able to do very well in education. So as you mentioned, like doing other activities, doing extracurricular activities, that's something that really helps in getting, those depressing stuff out of your mind. So that actually really helps. Even like from a personal experience, at times I was like feeling really down. If I put on like some music or I start reading a book, I feel really better. Like if to doing something which is probably not relevant to what you were worrying about really helps you in not being depressed or tensed anymore.
I think when we are talking of depression in common, of course, it's uh, the way it's like you have to find ways of putting your head off from
Yeah.
one negative thing, and you should be taking it to the other
Mhm.
constructive thing. So this is called channelizing, wherein you put your thoughts off from the one thing that is making you down, and you put it to the other things. Of course, how to do that is a challenge. And as you mentioned, listening to music and reading the books, and some people do journaling. They write out things. Some people talk to friends. So I guess you have to be social enough as well. In the age today where we are posting a lot of stuff on social media and not really having time to go and talk to our friends and meet our peers, that's also something that we can take in practice. Also, one thing which I feel is, um, of course, like the stereotype set up in society is something which is increasing these depression rates, I would say. So it's like I guess from the very early age, a child should be taught, and he should be taught how to accept himself the way he is. So you do not really need to get validations from the outer world of how you should be. It's okay the way you are. So I mean, there are a lot of things, but then yes, eventually mental conditioning, and for that, I believe we all should have this sort of attitude wherein we try to let go. I mean, let go of things and let other people live. We do not really have to take care of the societal stereotypes and
Yeah.
everything. So that's something that we should be
Yeah, like
following more
it's
often.
about let going and looking at the positive aspects of life. So,
Something that I would like to share here. I'm sorry, but it's a very famous book by Rhonda Byrne, I guess, The Secret, which says that and never discuss the bad news. So even if something bad happened, you don't need to. There's a 5 minute rule. You do not really have to more than 5 minutes in your life, and it says rather
yeah,
than sticking to all these negativities. It's like we should be practicing for what we are having, because that attracts more positivity. So yeah, I guess we took it to a different tangent, but yes, I
yeah.
mean, this is something that actually I think has to be conditioned in every child's brain so that they grow up well in the society.
Yes, ma'am. So, now moving on to our next question. So, how can healthcare providers and educators work together to identify and address health issues that may be affecting the child's education?
Uh, you broke off. Can you repeat the question again?
Ma'am was saying how healthcare providers and educators work together to identify and address health issues that may be affecting the child's education?
Okay. I mean, your question is how healthcare providers identify the health
Yeah,
issues
identify
due to child
health
education.
issues that may be affecting the child's education.
Um, I guess it's a again, I mean, when we say healthcare providers and educational institutions, so the basic rule which should be followed, instead of focusing on the problem, this is something that I personally believe should happen in at least in Indian society as well. Um, Instead of focusing on, there are a lot of times when we see children do not perform, and of course, I mean, I do not really want to go into this because else I'll take, I can take like the entire day, and the conversation won't end.
Yeah.
But it's like, uh, there had been a stereotype or the social norm in the society wherein it's very simple. I mean, somebody, let's take an example. Somebody in a classroom, there are people who are geeks, who are the topper ones, and there are the ones who cannot perform
Yeah.
well, right? And we, uh, from the very beginning, we are even, that that I'm sure pretty much happens with everybody, and it happens in the Indian society. We call the ones, we identify them as losers or
Hmm.
failures, or the so-called nalayak term that we use for children who are not really able to cope up with their education. And then the thing is, you have those parent teacher meetings, you have those sessions and everything, but the eventual thing here is to understand why are they performing that way. Is it, I mean, there could be different reasons. Maybe they're losing interest in the studies. They are losing interest in education. What exactly is making them lose interest? Or is it like, do they have really some mental health problem which is leading to these consequences? So I guess the direct answer to your question would be that instead of these educational institutions and even healthcare facilities, so instead of focusing on the problem, I guess we need to understand why these children are facing such problems, are not able to uh, deliver something or are not able to perform. So that's where they should identify that, okay, this child is a victim of so and so health condition. I mean, it's not, we do not really need to punish him, or we do not really need to give him an F. Rather, this is a special case which should be reported to the parents, which should be reported to the, I would say, healthcare facilities, so that they work on the child, they see what exactly is the problem, and they try to solve the problem with the children. So it's just a basic example. So instead of, I guess, say just setting a bar and going on with the flow, or going on in the conventional flow the way we had been doing till today, um, by judging children, we really need to identify that why, what is the, we have to get the question of the why. So why are they doing this, or why are they not able to perform? Does it have something to be related to health, so that way they should identify the problem at a very early age. I think that that thing needs to be changed
Yeah.
here.
Ma'am, how do you think that the schools and policymakers should address the link between poverty, poor health, and education? Like, there are disparities. How do you think they should be addressed?
I guess, okay, I mean, see, poor health, education, as we mentioned, poor health leads to, of course, lack of education, and lack of education further leads to less awareness, which leads to, of course, not taking care of the health, which further leads to not being able to, uh, you know, grasping education. So it's all like a circle, a loop. And I guess if we are talking of these institutes, which certainly do hold some power, they should work on the data. They should work on how many children are basically, I mean, they have all the stats, they have all the data available with them. It's just analyzing the data and working on it. I think the only problem in this country is that uh, implementation is a bit slow. Of course, it's because of the population. The management of the country is, I would say, a bit difficult. But of course, these institutions or these government institutions that you are asking about, they hold the data, they hold the power with them. They should identify the pattern. They should identify what exactly is the problem going on in the society, and that's where they can implement a lot of policies, I would say, or they can implement a lot of laws in favor of which helps in favor of these children, and which actually helps in breaking the loop, and which actually helps in at least somehow help in supporting the education and their health, if that makes sense.
Yeah, ma'am. I also feel like India is a developing country, and for a developing country, the two major problem is lack of education and lack of basic facilities. Like it's majorly lack of basic facilities like food, shelter, education. So government and society, we all should together, work upon it, because not only government only cannot do much about it. Like if we as public do not support them, they won't be able to work upon it, because again, like that's when corruption comes in. Even if government implements some schemes and some policies, their benefit do not come to the actual people that they are meant to be, because of corruption and various factors. So I believe that we should all together work upon making the society a better place.
And I think there should the problem is not implementation. Basically, if you see, there are a lot of schemes. Government keeps on rolling out different schemes. There are different
Yeah,
NGOs. There are different humanitarian organizations, but the problem still exists because I feel it's not, they were not working in an
yeah,
integrated way. And why they aren't, I mean, why they are working in silos, why they are not working in an integrated way is because the access or the ease of integration doesn't exist here, at least in this country. So ideally, instead of working in silos with, you know, uh, different organizations working for different things, and it's better that we form like a holistic entire group. We go for partnerships and we form a group. People should work as partners because
yeah,
the eventual goal is same. It's just working for the betterment of society. Even government should come up with schemes for organizations and who want to help in the betterment of society. But those schemes, of course, should be, I guess, in this age, those schemes should be easily accessible by everybody. So that, let's say, even if I am having an organization, if I know that Government of India is supporting some certain things, it should be easy enough for me that me, you know, sitting at the comfort of my home, shall be able to patch myself up with some scheme, and then I can do whatever I want. I can go ahead and do
hmm,
my charity work with more confidence and with
yeah,
more power. So something here needs to be changed, or I would say, of course, I mean, this is something that people should address. But even if not government, I would say these small organizations working in silos should eventually, like a non-profit group or something should come up wherein all these organizations join hands, and uh, a bigger, like working in integrity or working in union would definitely yield better results than working separately in
yes, ma'am.
silos.
That's a really great point. In fact, if like different organizations work together, then they will be able to make a bigger impact. And plus, like it's always said that two minds are better than one. Like the more people join in and contribute to a noble cause, the more ideas and the more ways, then the better impact we'll get. So that's a really great point, and like maybe not on a very bigger scale, but some organizations, like just collaborate, like the collaboration between Jitender Foundation and SKCF. I hope that like many more such things keep on happening and like working for the betterment of society, because that's really required.
Of course. And it's really, I mean, it's not really an honor for me to be joining your Insta Live, but it's actually, I guess, a step towards a very small step, but though a step taken towards, working together for the society.
Yes, ma'am, it's about, spreading awareness and knowledge to people. So that's it from my side actually. If any of the viewers have any question for ma'am, then please drop it down in the comment. And meanwhile, ma'am, can you like give a last message to our viewers?
I I would just simply, try to explain about the idea of Jitendra Foundation. So it's like, you know, basically people like me, especially, and I know there are a lot of people like me,
Yeah.
the working class. They want to do something for the society, but I guess in today's time, they are too busy, too occupied in their daily routines that they really do not find time for doing something or for, going out and to be making charity. I guess that's where we want to ease this process, and we brought Jitendra Foundation in the picture, wherein things are pretty easy. So it's a platform patching the donors and volunteers and the recipients, basically the needy. So we we focus more and more on easing the charity process. So like sitting at your comfort place, in like seconds, you can even donate $10. Doesn't really matter. That's what our logo is. So it's like we say that small steps lead to bigger results, and we have a network of more than 1,000 volunteers who would want to come and take this donation and distribute it for different deprived sectors of the society. So that's what we are doing. And in terms of, I mean, one more problem which we see, which I personally feel when I used to, go for charity things, I would not trust any organization. That's the thing that I would do, because I mean, of course, we live in a country where trusting is a bit difficult part. So I guess that's where we do uh, we do live sessions for any act or anything that we basically do for the needy. We do share everything on our social media, on our website, whatever we do, so that people, those who have donated, we do share like a live link at the time of donation, at the time of the act, so that they can validate that what they did or what they donated, that had been actually received by the needy, and there is no middle party who is kind of taking the cut or anything like that. So this is where we want to bring trust in the charity process, and of course want to ease up the process.
Yes, ma'am, that's really important thing. Like even SKCF, like all the projects and different activities, like there are classes going on for students. Like SKCF is basically providing free education to children from first to 12th standard. Like we also, post about these things on our Instagram, on our website. So there, the data and information about where the funds are getting spent are available, so that the people who are interested in donating can, feel at ease while giving their money to us. They will know that it's gonna be contributed to a noble cause and it's gonna help the society. So that's a really important thing.
I think I really like the way you guys are imparting education, and of course in future we would like to work together
Yeah, looking
for
forward to
children
it, ma'am.
education.
Yeah. So yeah, it was nice talking to you, ma'am. We are so glad to have you here. With also the viewers, thank you so much for joining in, and we had a really fun interaction. I enjoyed it. I hope you did it as well. So yeah, this is the end of this live session. Looking forward to many more such collaborations, ma'am.
Thank you,
Thank you
Kusha.
so much.
You had been a really sweet
Thank you
host.
so much,
Thank you.
ma'am. You were a wonderful speaker as well.
Bye.
Bye bye.